Good, bright, and beautiful Thursday to everyone. Welcome to Garden State Weather and GardenStateWeather.blogspot.com, providing superior forecasting for the northern mid-Atlantic region 24 hours a day. I'm forecaster Robert Smith on this beautiful Thursday, the 7th of May, 2015. Gorgeous morning this morning with temperatures at near seasonable levels, upper 40s to low and mid 50s across the region. There's a few areas in southeastern Pennsylvania where have a mid-deck of clouds, but that will be absorbed as the ridge axis continues to press subsidence and drawing in the lower layers of the atmosphere over the next couple of hours. So even this cloud cover will begin to scatter out, and today should be generally sunny throughout the entire forecast region. There's a little bit of fog out there too in the valley areas and along the coast here, and that will begin to burn off this afternoon. But watch out, late night and early morning fog will become more dense, and how far this spreads in late tonight, early tomorrow morning will be determined by a couple of factors that we'll get into in just a moment. We'll do the pollen and forecast first. It's on the high side today, and it will continue to be so through early next week as every major flowering and tree, actually, oak, birch, maple, and everything else continues to flourish out there. And the ultraviolet radiational index for your skin, sunscreen is going to be a must over the next couple of days right through the weekend as the sun angle is quite high and strong. Sunscreen is a must. And there are no air, land, or sea advisories for the New Jersey, New York, Philadelphia metro area this morning, so we'll get into the agricultural forecast for southeastern Pennsylvania and northern New Jersey, issued by the University of New Brunswick at Cooks College. At Rutgers. Rainfall amounts none through Friday. East winds at 5 to 10 today, then shifting to the southwest gradually this afternoon through Friday at 5 to 10 miles an hour. Humidity's 30 to 40% today. That's good. 90 to 100% tonight and 30 to 40% on Friday. Dew points 50 to 55 today and tonight, 55 to 60 Friday. Very good conditions for drying both today and Friday. There's a little bit of light dew possible late tonight and again on Friday night. The percentage of sunshine about 40% today, and I think that that's probably going to increase to a higher amount, and 70% on Friday. 500 millibar analysis in water vapor this morning shows our cold core low, or still area of closed low pressure locked up over and off the South Carolina coast this morning. Strong winds developing right along and out off the coastal waters. There's a high rip current risk in effect through Friday, possibly even longer into the weekend as this scenario plays out. Meanwhile, over the top of the low, we have high pressure building in with a converging and confluent flow across the region. That means sinking air, and that sinking air means dry conditions and warm temperatures in the forecast for the next several days. Now, officially, hurricane season doesn't officially start June 1st, but that doesn't matter on the calendar, actually. A non-tropical low-pressure system located about 220 miles southeast of South Carolina-North Carolina border has been nearly stationary the past several hours, and showers and thunderstorms are gradually becoming better organized, and environmental conditions are still expected to become more conducive for development over the next day or so while the system moves slowly northward and then northwestward. Subtropical or tropical cyclone could form later today or on Friday. Interest along the southeast coast of the United States should monitor the progress of the system, and an Air Force reconnaissance aircraft scheduled to investigate the low later this morning. Regardless of the development, heavy rain and possible over portions of coastal southeastern United States beginning later today, and high rip current risk as well. Formation chances over the next 48 hours about 70%, and over the next 5 days at 70%. And if this storm is named, the Atlantic would be the first to name storm of the season. It would be called Anna. And right now the model track guidance continues to hedge on the idea that it may make landfall here around the South Carolina-North Carolina border, then scoot off to the coast and then south and east of the metropolitan area of New Jersey and New York. And this would have some implications on the way the wind flow is, also at the surface and aloft, and probably more so the swells of ocean current or wave action along the New Jersey and Delaware coast later this early this weekend as well. And we'll get into those options in a moment. Fantastic weather for flying, mostly VFR conditions expected through the period. Some localized mist or fog may develop after 6Z tonight, which is about midnight or so, and have some low clouds over the region. Dew point temperatures will have a big impact on the chances for fog to develop. At this point, only included Millville and Atlantic City, which should hang on to the onshore flow the longest. Wind direction will be changing through the day from northeasterly currently to easterly by mid-afternoon, and southwesterly by late afternoon, except for Wilmington, Millville, and Atlantic City. And those southeasterly winds will have an influence on bay and sea breezes as well. Still, wind speed should be light, generally near or below 10 knots. VFR conditions for Friday, light south to southeast winds expected. Saturday through Monday, VFR, some early morning MVFR and IFR in Spog and Stratus possible at most of the terminals. Better chances closer to the coast, obviously, and southeast flow giving way to southwest flow on Sunday. Possible afternoon shower or thunderstorm each afternoon. Best chances across the western terminals with differential heating. Right now, outside of Newark Airport, it's warm, 162, dew point 49, humidity 62%, and it is just a few clouds at 25,000. Beautiful morning out there, and VFR conditions in place. Philadelphia 2 at 61, dew point 51, humidity 70%. The wind is northeast at 5. A few clouds at 12,000, and broken at 20,000. Gorgeous morning out there. VFR conditions in place. Morning pass of visible satellite this morning shows our close low. Here are disturbance here becoming extratropical or tropical over the next couple of hours or so, maybe even the next 24 hours, off the South Carolina, North Carolina coast. Meanwhile, we have high pressure building over the top, a little bit of a temperature inversion here with some moisture trapped here, but this is going to get all dissipated and washed out as the morning continues. Mostly sunny skies across the Hudson River Valley, New Jersey, and the New York City metropolitan area down to Philadelphia too. Moisture content in the atmosphere, well, this tells the story. As this is increasing with activity building around it on the western side, it's taking all the moisture with it, and that allows high pressure sinking and drying air to condense over the northern mid-Atlantic region, and that's allowing for all the clear skies that you see out there this morning. And this is in the mid and upper levels of the atmosphere. Will continue to work down through the surface as the morning progresses. Of course, there's not much going on except for rain across the outer banks here of the Carolina coastlines as the storm system gets more convection on the western side of it. So we'll be monitoring that for development. Absolutely dry weather, no precipitation in the forecast region for today, tonight, tomorrow, or Saturday. High resolution rapid refresh model shows that late tonight, early tomorrow morning, where the fog forms on the northeast wind or southeast wind rather will have an impact on the coastal regions. The HRR model is a little bit further west with the stratus and low clouds tomorrow morning. Meanwhile, the NAM model is a little bit further to the east right along the immediate coast. Other impacts on the HRR getting into the upper 70s to around 80 today, but by late this afternoon, everything begins to cool off right along the immediate coast of New Jersey, Long Island, southern Connecticut, as differential heating over the inland areas and onshore flow continue with sea breeze effect right along the immediate coast. We could see this more prolifically on the HRR versus the lower scale NAM model. Still, the sea breeze effect is showing up nicely on the NAM model too. Notice how it brings in the easterly fetch and cools the atmosphere off with the yellows right along the immediate coast over Long Island, southern Connecticut as well. Temperatures get back into the 70s and 80s tomorrow. Again, sea breezes develop late in the afternoon and evening and begin to cool off the coastal waters. GFS forecast from this morning shows high pressure in control. Here's our storm, whether it's named or not. It's either going to be Anna or it's just going to be an area of low pressure that gets absorbed into the Carolina coast and adds latent heat, moisture to the lower and mid levels of the atmosphere. The GFS, not sure what to do with this by Sunday, still has it off the South Carolina coast. Some of the other modeling brings it finally inshore, and most of the model consensus says it grazes the coast and then out it goes. Its contribution would be some scattered showers as the trough approaches the region on Monday afternoon. That means some scattered showers and possibly a thunderstorm with the warm air advection in place, but most of this may be robbed as the system stays to the south and the other system cuts up across the Great Lakes. Maybe this area here by Monday night and Tuesday will be a little dry slotted, and here goes the storm out to sea. Low pressure deepening over the southeastern regions of Canada, over the top of the Great Lakes here, drags a front through the region, and the cold front will be moving through the region Tuesday night and Wednesday. There could still be some shower activity with this. Not so confident on the amount of precipitation at this point. And then again, as that moves over, high pressure builds in for the forecast region for the middle of the week. So even though the forecast looks a little bit wetter and we do need water across the northern mid-Atlantic region, we're running anywhere from about 50% below normal for the year so far in many of the northern reaches of the counties here in northern New Jersey and Pennsylvania in temperature and water amounts here that we need so desperately. But this latest modeling shows that this may not come to fruition as much as the forecast is indicating. We'll pay attention to the interaction between these features as we move into the weekend. The one thing we are more confident on is the temperature forecast. As we get into this afternoon, temperatures running in the low to the mid 70s, except for the immediate coast, will be cooled late this afternoon with sea breezes developing. Temperatures drop back down into the 50s and lower 60s, and then we ramp it right back up on Friday with temperatures approaching 80 over most regions, excepting again for the immediate coast. And then as we head into Saturday afternoon, temperatures spike again into the 70s, which is above normal for this time of the year. And we could be doing it again on Sunday with temperatures approaching the low to the mid 80s over most regions except the coastal waters once again late afternoon and early evening as sea breezes develop. Then on Monday, the complicated forecast, we're still going to find temperatures in the upper 70s and lower 80s, and how much of that becomes rainfall, and that will affect the temperature forecast as well. Right now, Tuesday is still looking quite warm with temperatures in the low to the mid 80s, and this is off the GFS. So the interaction between this storm and how much of it has an impact on our wave action and also temperature profile along the coast and how much water content it carries with it as it moves up and off the northern mid-Atlantic coast states, and interaction with the polar feed here coming in for the region early next week will have an impact. But right now the GFS is saying that there's not going to be too much of an impact, so therefore the temperatures will be much milder. And as we head into a Wednesday afternoon, temperatures drop off a little bit, and finally as a cold front moves through, much cooler air beginning to filter into the region. As we get into Thursday of next week, temperatures will be back to or slightly below seasonal levels for this time of the year. So an active polar branch of the jet stream is going to be taking place, and that means that this warm weather that we're experiencing right now will become a little bit more of an anomaly uh, rather than the norm. And we have a typhoon that has been out in the northern Pacific, actually moving towards the Philippines and then Taiwan as it recurves out in the polar Pacific, and that means a very active and volatile, active polar jet stream with a lot of undulation here in the flow. Here's our low off the southeast coast. Into the future, a lot of this action is going to penetrate as the storm recurves. That probably will mean slightly cooler weather with backdoor cold fronts moving through the northern mid-Atlantic once again. So by the middle of next week, things should begin to change back down to around normal. So enjoy the weather. So for everything live, it's Garden State Weather, gardenstateweather.blogspot.com, Twitter, Facebook, and Google+. I'm forecaster Robert Smith. Have a fantastic Thursday. We'll be back in bright and early on Friday morning.